Guys, welcome back.
Hi, guys.
Listen, the Emiru and Mizkif situation has been progressing. We now have a legal mindset video on it. We can kind of see the point of view of a lawyer and approaching this. And I've also heard that Mizkif may be getting what is the right word for it? Have you seen that? That he may be getting served papers?
Oh yeah. He's getting, what is it, like, sued?
Yeah. So we'll see if that's true or not. I don't know if he's going to cover some of the reasons that could happen. Countersued, is that what it is? All right, let's find out.
And somebody in our YouTube comments recommended that we watch this video, so thank you so much for the suggestion. Also, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I saw something today, and Asmongold did say this. I think officially as of yesterday, Miz has been kicked from OTK.
Oh, well, I mean, of course,
Which
right?
Is, yeah.
I didn't know he was still in it, to be honest.
Yeah, he was.
All right, let's do it.
Emiru versus Mizkif. There are giant allegations, some of which could be criminal, as we investigate this streamer-on-streamer battle. Of course, Legal Mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. This is the Fast Facts version of the latest in legal news. If you like the Fast Facts, if you like the format, make sure to like the video and leave a comment below. So let's jump right into it today with this, which is a highly requested topic with massive legal implications. Could be the streaming court case that I think might even go beyond the Ethan Klein versus Frogan and Denims and Casey Tron, although that's a pretty crazy one as well. But this one is more personal in nature, and I think that's what makes it so interesting and so fascinating, albeit in a unfortunate way. So let me start with some disclaimers, of course, in my PP, my PowerPoint. First of all, I do not know these people. One of the fortunate things about being outside of the streamer bubble,
big PP
which
or small
I
PP?
pretty much define as the American streamers that pretty much all hang out together, that are all doing house parties, they're going out meeting each other. There's advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages, of course, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what people are doing, you're not listening to, the latest tips and tricks, etc. But at the same time, right, and this is the important point here, you're removed from the drama and you're protected from it. I would not want to be at one of these alleged parties or events, etc., and have seen these things going down. That's just a giant liability.
We went to one during TwitchCon. They are overhyped. It was loud. I was bumping into people constantly. There were areas you couldn't go. It sucked. It sucked. It was a sucky party.
Yeah.
And to me,
but the food was amazing. Thank God.
Gosh,
San Diego.
food,
okay, moving on.
Hearing what these things going down is a great example of why you should not date people that are effectively your coworkers. And in this very case, we're going to deal with what can be intercompany drama, intercompany issues here. And one other thing that kind of popped out to me as a disclaimer is that streamers are kind of weird in the way that they operate, in the way that they manage their relationships, and the way that they deal with their interpersonal stuff. Now, I know that Emiru and others have said, hey, this isn't stuff they would bring up online. Private life should be private. And I very much agree with that. But airing out all of your dirty laundry of your relationship live for millions to see is just not really the way to go.
Yeah, that's a bad way to do it.
Looking at this, for all those that are wondering, hey, I want to become a streamer, you might want to think again, because there are various tolls, whether it's on your personal life, as you see here, relationships, mental health. There's a lot of things. Stress, I can speak to that.
Can I say something on that,
very,
though?
very stressed.
Sure.
So I see what he's saying. And again, guys, this is a lawyer giving his legal mindset, hence the name, on the situation. But I think because of how big they are and like just kind of like where they are on Twitch and the influence that they have, I feel like the extent that it's gotten, I think she had to kind of air it out.
I don't think so, and let me talk about that a little bit.
Explain.
There are avenues that exist for you to take care of this. Legally, she could have sued, she could have gone after him, she could have pressed charges for that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree that if somebody comes at you at TwitchCon and says, I will ruin you if you release this, that it's probably time to release it. Yes.
Yeah.
But if she had been prepping to release this prior to that, I don't think it's super appropriate. I think you should take the avenues available to you outside of streaming. Because if she cannot, and this is, again, this is not a moral standpoint, this is the world we live in standpoint. If she can't prove every single allegation that she's made in that video, she could be sued wildly. She could lose in court.
That's true. You're not
So
wrong.
if you are an upcoming streamer and you're like, I want to talk about somebody that did something to me, you have to understand that if you cost them money by calling them out,
yeah,
they could legally go after you for that money. So you need to make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed, or you could put yourself in a bad position. And essentially, both of them have done that by both making accusations on each other.
no,
That's my understanding on it, that they could both be liable for defamation.
No, that's definitely, you're correct. You're correct. I see what you're saying now. And again, I understand from his mindset that, you know, he is a lawyer, so that's what he's thinking. But I do remember Emiru on her live stream. She said, I did talk to my lawyer and discussed everything that I can talk about and what I should talk about.
So that's good.
So it's making me wonder, because again, we don't know what she all has.
That means she has the proof.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what that means, yeah.
So I think what she did share, which some of the stuff she shared was wild.
Yeah.
I think she does have proof of it, hopefully.
Yeah,
but I see what you're
she
saying.
has more proof and just wasn't going to show it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Out lately because it's a lot of pressure mentally, right? Not physically. It's not construction, right? It's not the hardest job physically ever. No, but there's a lot of mental pressure. There's a lot of social pressure, and that is very, very much true. But I will say one other thing as a disclaimer. I am going to focus on the law as always and focus on the, legal issues here at hand. But as a non-legal observer, taking off my handsome lawyer hat for a second, right? Mudang's wearing the hat right now. But we're taking off the hat. We're taking off the hat. And we're, as just a human being who watched this, I do not find Mizkif to be very credible. His story is not looking good. It is at a disadvantage. Now, I cannot say with certainty, absent proof in court or other hard evidence, who is guilty, who is not guilty, etc. But all of the factors right now favor Emiru. Emmy looks much more credible. Her presentation was much more credible. She seemed genuinely distraught versus Mizkif, who really only seemed distraught at the fact that this is going to ruin his career.
Yo.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Bro, what is that? Like, we're about to talk about sexual assault allegations. The way he started that stream was so unserious. It was a hard watch. But yeah, also the things that he presented, nothing he was presenting was disproving that he did the things that he was being alleged. He basically just said, this is why I did it. Also, I drive fast.
He did not seem...
And the thing is, too, he's like, I'm going to air all the tea. I'm just going to show everything right now. And he shows one little thing where it's like, dude, she was obviously distressed in those text messages. And that text that he showed was like after that whole like stalker incident happened.
Yeah.
And she literally said, I feel like the problem. And the way that she's acting completely makes sense based off of what she was sharing.
Yeah, White. I did catch that, actually. Somebody pointed that out. During Mizkif crying at one point, he said to himself, I'm so
Oh, yeah,
gay.
he did.
Like, bro, come on. You're a 30-year-old man.
And
he literally sounds like a middle school kid when he talks about stuff.
And there was one
processing
point
emotions
where I feel like he feeds chat sometimes or like tries to make things like lighthearted and a joke to like not make it serious. I don't know. For example, nobody was spamming the chat GPT thing until he instantly said it. And then he looks at chat. He's like, it's not chat God, come on, guys. Chat, come on. And then his chat started spamming it and he's laughing. And I'm like, dude.
All right, let's continue.
Genuinely troubled by
Let's get a
this
big point
on a
from
deep
this.
sense. Both of them need to be speaking to lawyers. I do think Emmy is doing that. I'm not sure about Mizkif, although I'm sure he's thinking about it now. If he's hatching all these crazy plans like using rabbits as blackmail material, I'm sure he's spoken to a lawyer at some point. I don't think a lawyer reviewed his statement. I think he wrote down the statement and he just read it. If I was a lawyer and I was advising him, I would not tell him to say the things he said. I would tell him to keep that private and bring it up in court. But they decided to say it. And by saying it, there's pretty much mutual defamation going on. Now, I'm saying mutual defamation because somebody is telling the truth and somebody is not telling the truth, or perhaps both parties may be fabricating certain periods. Once again, I'm taking a neutral stance. I don't know. I have a bias based on my observations. I think Emmy is the more credible one so far. But from a neutral, taking out those non-legal observations, the defamation is there somewhere. Somebody is defaming somebody, so they need to speak to lawyers and get on top of that. So let's talk about Emmy first. I watched all of these videos. I sat today and watched all 3 hours of videos, including Asmongold's reaction to them. Shout out to the Roach King. I did think her presentation, once again, was very credible, and she also brought some receipts. She had the text messages, which was much more credible than the evidence that was brought by Mizkif, showing some random video of what could be any single rabbit's enclosure, or not even a rabbit. It could be another animal. Who knows? There was no rabbit in the actual video. That is very questionable. And it certainly does not, quote unquote, prove anything. And proving stuff online and social media really doesn't get you any points if you get hit with a restraining order, if you get with criminal, certain criminal sanctions, criminal penalties might happen there, or civil liability. That's not going to protect you. So I think she did a good job of presenting it. I know it was troubling. I know she was sick. But overall presentation by Emmy was good. So what are the main allegations in the criminal stuff and civil stuff?
I haven't heard it put that way, but civil liability is a really good term to kind of put in your back pocket, guys, because that is defamation. That is loss of paycheck due to not being able to work because of like mental stress, like stuff like that. Like it's a wide spectrum of things that you could sue somebody for. So yeah, we said defamation, but there's a lot more to this than just defamation. Like if somebody causes you mental stress and you cannot work because of that, then you can also sue for that. So that is an interesting thing that he brings up.
Yeah.
I focused on. First, there's blackmail and coercion. So that is the aspect where if you go and speak out about a relationship, which is at the key here, and say bad things, etc., I am going to drop the rabbits, and we're going to get into the rabbits when we get into Mizkif, but I'm going to coerce you into not speaking. This is a problem for several reasons. One of which, once again, is these people were coworkers working at the same, under the same umbrella. There's a lot of issues when you're trying to coerce and blackmail a coworker. This can become a broader workplace issue. We know OSHA, right, guys? Real easy to submit that OSHA report. Not looking good on that, especially in Texas, under Texas law. There's also under Texas law, assault family violence. Now, understand this is domestic assault in Texas. That's how they brand it. And remember, assault is not actually striking somebody. It's actually just causing fear of imminent harm. So by punching holes in the wall and by doing other acts of violence, that could be construed as assault family violence. Once again, you don't need to be married for that. You can be a roommate, a boyfriend, etc. In Texas, that can fly. Now, there could also be sexual assault, maybe. Now, I'm very careful about this because we are, of course, in I don't want to say post-Me Too era, but I want to be very, very, very clear. We have
Fancy Dub says, wait, OSHA applies to streamers. So when they formed OTK, they actually did all of the legal stuff around that. So they are a company. Like they are, I don't know if they did an LLC. I don't know how they structured their business, but they were a business. So that does apply to them. They're paying taxes as a business and all of that sort of thing. They're an LLC. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, all of that applies to your everyday company, business, that sort of thing does apply. And that's why it's important when he says that blackmail and coercion is applying as of a company thing is super important, because Mizkif originally was a supervisor to Emiru in that setup.
Yeah.
Which is why if you watch Asmongold's reaction to the video, he explains you just have to sign a piece of paper. Emiru would have to give up her rights as an employee so that the company doesn't get sued for mismanagement, so that OTK doesn't get dragged into this legal thing. But because they kept it a secret, and because it's come out that they kept it a secret, OTK should be absolved of that.
Yeah.
Because to their knowledge, they did not know that they were dating. Potentially all the way up to the point that Emiru was on an even footing with him in the company when she got promoted as one of the owners. So, yeah, all of that is important knowledge to have going into this. We'll continue.
At this point, a he said, she said story, very difficult to prove those and very difficult to litigate those. Also, based on the factors, it seemed like, there was consent at one point, which was withdrawn. Okay, you let him kiss you, and then he jumped on top of you, said no, he got off. So there's some potential. Could it be essay? Yes, it could be. Could a court look at that? Once again, I'm taking a very neutral legal perspective. Could a court look at that and say that's not essay? Also possible. Right? So both of those scenarios, very, very possible there, but she could still try. She could still try to bring that claim. And I think that's the trouble for Mizkif, is that whether or not this is something that would ultimately be adjudicated guilty, being on trial for sexual assault does not look good for your career. There's also intentional infliction of emotional distress. It definitely seems on a civil side like that is a clear thing here. He was trying to afflict her with emotional distress. She seems distraught. She seems to have damages. She seems to have mental suffering and mental health from that, which is a very real thing.
Yeah, I did want to bring this up real
I
quick.
think
Sorry. Angel said this earlier in chat, but I wanted to wait till he got to the point about the essay. Angel said, to be fair, Mizkif didn't really deny almost anything besides what happened with the essay. Yeah. I feel like he didn't even necessarily deny the essay in in the way where he's like, oh, I didn't do this, like this didn't happen. Yeah. He literally said everything that Emmy explained was true. Like the whole thing. He didn't say that she was crying, so he painted the picture that they were just like hanging out cuddling type thing, that she wasn't in distress at the time. Yeah, I think that's the only thing he denied. But he did admit that he bounced off her and left, and then he apologized saying, if that hurt her feelings, my bad.
Yeah,
but
he downplayed a lot of stuff and he tried to normalize a lot of stuff, and that's why his video just really carries no weight in this situation. It just honestly makes him look worse.
Yeah.
Bring that claim. So these allegations, once again, they are very serious, but I want to stress this, and this is the point which I want to get to Emmy if she's listening to this. Emmy, you need to make sure you're taking official action. Now, I know you're getting a restraining order, and that's good. A restraining order is a good first step. But understand, your restraining order may be limited to just his physical presence. Okay, he physically can't come near you. Now, some courts are willing to issue a digital restraining order saying he can't talk about you online. That's a little bit more problematic, maybe not constitutional. Some courts will do it, some won't, might be overthrown. But what really should happen is a police report here of some kind, maybe EEOC, OSHA. Once again, they were working together. This could be a situation in which this was bleeding over into her work. And once again, what was key to her testimony, what was key to her talking about, not testimony yet, but her statements. Her statements were, I was streaming this, I was playing a tank in WoW, or I was streaming this game, and he was jealous and made me stop. That's a workplace issue. That's saying, hey, look, they're dating, they were coworkers, right? Working under the same umbrella legally. There you go. I mean, once again, seems problematic. A reason why you don't date your coworkers. These sort of things will happen with any relationship that's botched. And let me just mention that the majority of relationships fail. So once you factor in that the majority of relationships, just dating casually, are going to fail. You are gambling on a game that you're going to lose. It's a stupid thing to do. Now, listen. Have people done stupid things? Yes. Have people dated coworkers in the past? Yes. Look, I'm no saint over here saying it doesn't happen. But what I'm saying is it's a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. Beyond that, you could also do a civil lawsuit. And that's the thing I think is
type 1 if you've ever dated a
coworker. Now, defamation might be difficult because you have to expose everything. And that's why I don't push defamation.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't think Amy should jump to defamation. I think she should start with something else like filing a police report, a workplace claim, or IIED, intentional infliction of emotional distress. With that, you're going to be able to go after Mizkif. You're going to be able to get his messages, text messages, relationships, etc., depose people that talk to him. I think that would be a smarter move than perhaps going after defamation, but it's up to her and her lawyers and what they decide. Now let's talk about Mizkif over here and this lovely, lovely fellow. I found that what he did was soulless and really just reading off a statement that obviously was prepared. He admitted that, but was not screened, filtered, or really considered harshly. Throwing a plushie or a blanket is not going to get a girl hit with a assault charge or a battery charge. I'm sorry. That's not going to come to counter punching a wall, right? Those are not equivalent things. And perhaps...
No way.
I don't know. If mayonnaise is an instrument, plushie's a weapon. It all
No way. That's crazy. Thank God we have a lawyer for that. That is crazy. No, for real, that was ridiculous that he even brought that up in his statement.
I like that he said, yes, I chucked my phone and she had a bruise, but she's not innocent either, guys.
She threw a blanket at me.
Blanket and a plushie at me. Brother.
I'm a little bit more... hardened by this, growing up in South Florida, having one or two sandals thrown at me at some point, the chancleta. But that said, a plushie is not going to be that critical hit that takes you out. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know how soft you are, how much soy you've had for dinner, but that is not going to get a police officer in Texas to go slap some cuffs on Emmy and drag her to the police station. That's not going to happen. And the fact that he thought his big bullet, his silver bullet, was those rabbits, is a joke. Now, animal cruelty is a crime. And so the thing he messed up on is he's accused her of a crime. So if she did not do that, that is clear defamation. So Emmy now has a claim, in addition to the IAD, a clear defamation case, saying, hey, you are now accusing me of a crime, animal cruelty, right? Killing the rabbits, right? That is not okay. And here's my thing for Mizkif. Mizkif, bro, if you are so dead set on saying the rabbits are a problem, why didn't you report it to animal control or the local whatever the local authority is that oversees?
You brought this up when we were reacting to his clip.
Malcolm made a comment about it, and I kind of piggybacked on it in our chat. But yeah, the animal cruelty is a crime, and because it's happening on a property that Mizkif owns or is leasing or whatever he's doing there, he is liable for that. If it's happening on his property underneath the same roof. But what's even worse is that anyone else on that lease that is signed to live there is also liable. So that means their friends that they lived with, Mizkif also threw them under the bus.
Yeah. So
like
even if that is
it's
true,
no longer just a Mizkif and Emiru thing. If this goes to court and Mizkif is held liable, then the roommates that lived there with them, the other streamers, could also be held liable.
Yeah, anyone who lives on the property, yeah.
So it's really messed up that he's kind of just lashing out at everyone that may have been on his side at one point. And it's just, when he said, I'm going demon mode, like, bro, nobody's impressed by that. Nobody's impressed by that. It is sad.
Animal safety and health in your region, right? We talked about Hassan, Collargate. We all know about Collargate, and I helped out on Twitter, on X. I put out the information to contact the local animal services. So why didn't you contact animal services? If it's such a big deal, bro, where's the report to animal services? Let's see it. Show me the Carfax. Oh, you didn't do that. You just want to talk about it for internet clout. You just want to get people on your side. You want to bring up, your mental health as a defense, which isn't a joke. Mental health is a very serious thing, and people using it as a shield really undermines those that have legitimate mental health conditions. And it seems he may have even inflicted Emmy with a mental health condition, which would...
Mizkif has a mental health condition.
Oh, yeah.
His mental health condition is being psychotic. Like, he is a sociopath.
Yeah.
The way he approached all of this, he's got mental, issues, major mental issues. And I don't think those can be properly solved. It is amazing that he has gotten to this point and has not done a serious crime influenced by the things that are driving him in his head. Like, the way he responds to something as simple as someone getting more viewers than him and that sort of thing, that's psychotic. And then hurting the people around him because of that, actually insane.
It is actually insane.
Yeah.
strengthen her IIED claim. So he really hasn't reported it. And beyond that, if it was under his roof, he might also be liable for it. So that is not really a defense. So if you're keeping animals on your premise and they are abused, you might be liable for that. If you're the co-tenant at an apartment or a house and you are jointly leasing that or jointly renting that, you're liable for that. It's under your roof. It's happening there.
Yep.
So
The lawyer said
that
it.
is not the legal bombshell he thinks it is. Now, if Emmy was lying about everything she said, which once again, I'm not saying she is, I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. If she was lying, then there would be a clear defamation case. Then he could clearly bring a defamation case. However, I don't think he wants all of the messages, text messages, emails, etc., to be obtained through subpoena if he files defamation. And I think this strategy of leaking information not only could constitute blackmail, but it's idiotic, it's childish, and once again, it's not official. None of this is actually official. It's just meant to try to destroy her character, destroy her reputation, which once again would just add to her damages if she ever tries to sue you, even for something like IIED. In fact, leaking information to damage someone's reputation, especially very personal information, yeah, that very much could be considered intentional infliction of emotional distress. And so what I'm thinking with Ms.
Yeah, I brought that up too when he mentioned that she hurt herself in Japan, like self-harm. The implications of that are a wide range. And if that's something only he was privy to the knowledge of, releasing that could have some serious clapback as well. I did want to say the person that commented and told us to check out this video is here in chat, so welcome in. Thank you for telling us to check out this video.
Thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate that.
And then last thing I wanted to say about the rabbits, Mizkif could also be held liable because apparently one of the common ways a rabbit dies is from being startled.
Yeah, and
so him punching holes in the
environment.
wall, slamming the doors, all of these things, yelling that he's admitted to, could be the reason that 6 rabbits died. It could very well be that they had heart attacks because he was just acting out.
Yeah.
In their vicinity. So I did want to bring that up because the animal cruelty thing could be all him, and he's trying to shift the blame onto her.
Mizkif in his absolute mockery of a counter is that you should be very concerned and lawyer up. And at this point, Emmy has a procedural, social, and evidentiary advantage based on what we've seen so far. Mizkif definitely needs a legal counter or he's in trouble. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mizkif throw a lawsuit out there as a last-ditch gambit, as something, even Emmy said, a slap lawsuit, etc. Throw out some sort of lawsuit, which may be dismissed as it's filed, but it still would be a measure to try to stop this or cut back on this. We'll see what happens with that. A restraining order by itself is not going to be enough to end this dispute and is not going to be enough to put this to bed. There needs to be some other sort of action that's taken against whoever is responsible, once again being fair and neutral, likely Mizkif, right? But we don't know right now. There needs to be some sort of action officially taken with the police, EOC, OSHA, civil lawsuit, something to close the chapter on this and to find out what exactly was going on and to get all those details out there. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think is in the right on this one? I know it's probably people are thinking Emmy based on most of the polls, but let me know in the comments below and I'll catch you on.
Okay, cool. So real quick, super important video. Absolutely loved it. So thank you to Legal Mindset for coming out with that. Reason it's important is because a lot of people were feeling that Emmy was more in the right here, but that came with a lot of bias. A lot of people just like Emiru more than they like Mizkif. So it is good to have this kind of neutral legal point of view that just says, yes, you guys are right for feeling that way. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Jasmine, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, last thing, when he was like wrapping this up, I think it's crazy, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't have a lot of weight on the whole Emiru situation, but the last thing Mizkif said before ending his stream is he said throughout the coming week he's going to be releasing a bunch of stuff on a bunch of different people, and I just think like that's just going to put him in a really big mess. I'm interested to see what he says. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Paul, so much for hopping in the stream and for recommending this video for us. Legal Mindset makes really great videos. I really enjoyed this watch. I'm curious what you guys think in the comment as well. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Like, my mind is just like mashed potatoes right now. This is just crazy. This is all happening. But thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing and let us know if we should react to anything else.
Yeah, comment it. We'll watch it.
All right. Until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.